After both Horrorland and Hall of Horrors had concluded, R.L. Stine would come out saying that he never wanted to do any interconnecting storylines ever again, and that he wanted to stick Goosebumps to a short, anthology-based horror route because it was too hard for him, so a new series would be announced. So in 2012, Goosebumps Most Wanted would be announced. The new Goosebumps series and the first one since Series 2000 to be strictly anthology with no interconnections. It's a monumental series for the franchise, and although a lot of people say that it's really fucking horrible, there's actually a lot of merit to it. Not merit within the stories itself, but merit within what it did for Goosebumps. I mean, let's think about this. Within this time, we saw the growth of the series coming back into play. We saw the books hitting shelves even more frequently than they had with Horrorland or Hall of Horrors. And not to mention, there was a fucking movie with Jack Black. All of this is stuff that we never thought we would ever fucking see again, but somehow happened. Although it wasn't anything like we had seen in the 90s with the original Goosebumps series, it felt like a real return to Goosebumps. Not only as a series, but more as what had happened to the franchise. And that's where we talk about the books themselves. Fucking the causes of the series aside, the, weird introductions aside, let's get into the nitty gritty. There's 15 books in the series. It's one of the shortest they ever fucking did. However, 5 of them, 5 are special editions. Meaning that this almost, if you do the math, rounds up to 17 books. Maybe even 18, but depends on who you'd ask. Special editions we have seen in just Horrorland and Hall of Horrors. However, it's usually been one book. This is 5. 5 of them. And, I'm gonna just say this. When it comes to Goosebumps, I like the books short and sweet. Okay, that's why the moderns are a little bit more annoying with me. Like, I think that it's a lot more fun to read a 120 to 125 page book than it is to read 150 pages or 140 pages. It doesn't fucking matter. It's the same number. So, with all that shit being said, let's talk about this. Okay, this series started with a one-off book that did extremely successful. Did the rest of the books do this good? I don't know, probably not, but it doesn't matter. They did great, it's obvious. But let's talk about this. Goosebumps Wanted, The Haunted Mask. This book is fucking monumental in Goosebumps. And that's saying a lot because this is a pretty crazy series for the franchise. I don't think that there has been a book this impactful to the success of the franchise everlasting. This book, a lot of people bought. Like, it had insane sales to the point where they even brought it back for a paperback reprint. So, this book was originally in hardcover, like I just said. And, it's a long book. But, I'm gonna say this. With everything that we know, this book makes a very good attempt at trying to recapture what we got back in the 90s. Which I think is good, because it's the first book in a 15-long series, and I think that, you have to do your job, right? So, let's get into this. Fuck it. Introduction, 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, that was nice. Alright, now, let's talk about the book. So, Goosebumps Wanted, The Haunted Mask. This is a book that follows, I almost forgot. Okay, it follows 2 people, Devin and Luann, and they both have their own separate stories. And this book is basically broken into 4 parts. The first part is like 30 pages long, and it's actually frightening. It's a scary part of the book. It's, probably the most chilling shit we've seen since Series 2000. Maybe even,
I'd almost go as far as say this. I'm gonna say this. This is probably the scariest thing I've read in Goosebumps. It sent chills down my spine, which is hilarious. It's almost like I got goosebumps from reading Goosebumps. Something that like I probably haven't had since fucking first grade. So, that's impressive. Okay? I'm not of the age group that is supposed to be reading these.
Well, no shit.
Yet I still found it pretty damn scary. So that's already gonna make me happier. Now we go into, I think it's Luann's story second. And Luann's story is interesting. Because this is kind of the main haunted mask part of the book. And I gotta be honest, I don't love it. It's a weird story that, you know, tries to once again do the haunted mask stuff. Thank God it's not with Carly Beth again. I'm sorry. I know my Carly Beth fans are gonna be fucking on my dick the rest of the video. Like, I don't like seeing the same characters over and over again in Goosebumps. It's annoying. And even though it was only for 3 books, Haunted Mask is a book that I don't think really needs to keep the same character. Like, I think Carly Beth is a great character, but I don't think she's, like, perfect. Like, I think she's a good character, but the one we get here is totally fine, and I'd almost say I like her about the same. I think that most of this story is pretty good, ranging from decent to, I'd say, great at times, but nothing really catches my attention too much. But then we get into Devin's story, which takes place on his pumpkin patch, and this is kind of odd because this is the more controversial part of the book. It seems a lot of people argue about it, but for me, I kind of just look at it like, this is meh, this is not worth my time, but I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was at least okay, maybe even decent, which, you know, kind of goes into the last part. The last section's fine. It doesn't do much for me, but it kind of rounds up the book. And I think that if I had to give each part a score, I'd probably say Luann's story, 7 out of 10. Maybe even an 8 if I'm generous. Devin's story, probably like a 5. But I almost rounded up to a 6. And given that opening, which was pretty fucking awesome, I even would bump up Devin's score to a 6.5-ish. And let's just round this off and say a 7 out of 10. This is a 7 out of 10 book for me. I think that it's definitely worth a read. However, it's long. It's kind of a book that I go, why would you read this when you can read Haunted Mask 1 and 2? But it doesn't matter either way. It's a fun book. And as long as it's, you know, in season, or maybe if you're someone who just loves Halloween, you'll probably like this, at least a little bit. I mean, half of the book is in a fucking pumpkin patch. Okay, does that not sound cool? It kind of does, no matter what way you look at it, even if it's not that great. So, yeah, 7 out of 10. I'd say it's worth a read. It's worth a read, and this was the first book that, you know, started everything off, kicked it off with a bang, I guess. And now we're gonna get into the most wanted books. So with that being said, here we go.
Caught 3 bodies in one day. I think they call that a hat trick. Cooling with my twin, we look like SpongeBob and Patrick.
And the first book is dog shit. It's horrible. This book is a pointless book to me. And it only solidifies it that way by itself, by the way, because it has one of the worst climaxes and endings in the entire franchise. And even the character who could have had potential never learns his lesson. That's the only thing he needed. We all think he's gonna. We're all on the edge of our seat. We're like, he's gonna learn his lesson. And he never does. And even if, who the fuck wants to read this? Planet of the Lawn Gnomes? This is a sequel to Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, which isn't even a good book. Who the fuck wants to read this? It's fucking horrible. 3 out of 10. Fuck that. 2.5 out of 10. Fucking awful. I never want to read this fucking shit again.
Big black meat, he's jerking me till I ski. He's fucking my bum, he's making me come, he's playing with both of my cheeks.
And everyone kept telling me that this was the book that will not disappoint me. This one is gonna be pretty fucking awesome. And I had very low expectations because, well, Slappy books haven't really been good in my opinion since the third one. So, when this was on my horizon, I finally read it, I was kind of surprised. This is probably the best Goosebumps book with Slappy in it since the dawn of fucking time. I mean, this is rare, folks. I gotta be careful. I mean, I don't know what powers this shit holds, but a good Slappy book? Okay, let's think about this. A good Slappy book that came out in 2013.
Alan, this species of Variformin's been extinct since the Cretaceous period. I mean, this thing isn't one of this thing. What?
I'm sorry, I feel like crying. That's fucking crazy. This book, it has a misleading title. That's what the haters say. They can go fuck themselves. This is the best shit we've gotten in forever. I mean, the characters are half decent, it's fun, and really, it's not boring. I read this in like an hour and a half. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but it did. And it flew by me. This is a book that, I'll say this. I can't love, but I appreciate. Stein making a good book with a character even in a dummy book is insane. Let alone Slappy himself. So, I'm gonna give this book some props, and I'm gonna say that this is one of the best books in the modern Goosebumps series. I said it, and I will stand by my opinion. As of now, this is one of the best. Now, here's the thing. After I read this, I looked in my backpack. Okay, I was on the way back from a trip, by the way. Spring break. I was on the way back from a trip. And I noticed that the next book had one of my least favorite cover arts in all of Goosebumps. Take a fucking hint.
The juice is loose.
Now, when I first saw this book cover, I wanted to vomit. But it's okay. The book could be great. There's some good books with horrible covers. Maybe we'll do a video on that at some point. But, god damn, this book was ass. I think the story, concept itself is fun. It's a fun, you get the fucking point. If you read it, you'll know what I'm saying. The execution is some of the worst I've ever seen. The characters struggle to keep me interested. I think that it's too long, and I think that for what this is, it doesn't have enough to work with. This feels like this could be a short story from Tales. And for anyone not informed, those are usually 10 to 20 pages. This is 140 fucking pages of this. There's nothing exciting happening. In fact, the most exciting thing is something that I posted in the Discord because I thought it was fucking hilarious. But it's a little boy's tallywhacker being, exposed. I sound like a creep. But seriously, this Johnson's out and everything. Never in my days did I think I'd see a Goosebumps book, especially a modern one, where a kid gets pantsed completely naked. And it's not like it ends there. It's brought up again and again throughout the rest of the book. And the weirdest thing, Stein writes it off like the girls thought it was funny. No one wants to be exposed in public. Whether you're the person that's exposing others or if they're getting exposed to someone else. That's fucking weird, Stein. That's fucking weird. Alright? I've heard people say countless times, say Jesus and die again, the skirt scene. I don't give a shit. That's not that bad. Alright? She probably had underwear on, whatever. This is fucking weird. He's completely naked. He's fucking naked. I'm like, this kid is like in middle school. I'm done. This book's fucking horrible. It's getting a 3.5 out of 10. Okay? Never want to read again. In fact, I don't suggest it in the slightest. Alright, and with that we have completed book 4, Frankenstein's Dog. And I gotta be honest, I was not impressed. This book started at like a 6.5 out of 10, quickly became a 6 out of 10, and by the end of things, I dropped it to a 5, and it's a low one at that. I think the main reason this book got worse as it went on is how similar it becomes to another Goosebumps book that we all know and love, Stay Out of the Basement. This book is very similar to that, and it's almost inexcusable at some parts. And the climax is legitimately almost beat by beat the exact same climax by plot. I mean, literally. It's fucking ridiculous how insanely similar it is. The book isn't just rough because of that, though. It also comes down to just a lot of fake outs and a lot of stuff that's just kind of boring and doesn't do much for me. In fact, speaking of fake outs, I think this has one of the worst, if not the worst fake out I've ever fucking read in Goosebumps.
No, I screamed. No, I'm not okay. The green gunk, I touched it. Oh wow, Robbie's face filled with horror. I staggered back. I'm growing. I screamed. Oh, help me, what am I going to do? I'm growing.
Holy shit. I gotta flip to the next page.
No, you're not, he said. I gasped. Huh? What do you mean? You're not growing, Cat. Look at yourself. You just panicked, that's all.
I mean, when I saw it, I was flabbergasted. I mean, Jesus Christ. And I think, honestly, although a lot of people are gonna be like, why are you getting such a low score, even though you said it's not even bad? It's like, I don't think this is like really that rough. I think that it mainly comes down to just try to be original, right? The book that this reminds me of is actually from what we talked about in my last big arc video or series video, and that was Horrorland Arc 2. And it was this book that, like, I genuinely think is way worse than this, but it was Ghost Dog Howls, and I think the reason why I thought it was so, like, what the fuck, is that it's basically Barking Ghost with, like, some plot tweaks, which this is kind of what Stay Out of the Basement feels like with that. And also, this cover's sick. Fuck this cover. This has nothing to deal with the fucking book. And same with the name. Okay? Nothing like this happens in the book, so I can't suggest this one. Low 5 out of 10. Oof. Rough. No pun intended. Jesus Christ. Okay, next book.
I'm not crazy. I'm a maniac.
Sorry if you hear rain. It's a very rainy day on the Goose Block. And with that, we also have a pretty rough book. This is the one people were warning me about that is one of the worst of Goosebumps of all time. That it's, apparently the worst, most wanted, possibly. Dr. Maniac will see you now. This book could have been decent because you have an idea that's kind of interesting with the first Dr. Maniac book, I'll admit. However, if you saw my Horrorland Arc 1 video, you know that I don't like that book just because of how bad the first half is. It's just a ton of fake outs, a lot of boring shit that I don't want to see, and the second half is actually pretty good. So, as soon as it gets to the second half, I'd say we're chilling. But that first half's really bad. This book doesn't have much of like half of this, half of that in terms of quality. It's very mixed. And I find myself not enjoying it more than I find myself enjoying it. So, this book is fucking horrible. I don't know where to get started. I hate the characters. I think the villain is worse in this book than he is in the last. And unlike the last one where it's just kind of funny, a lot of the shit Dr. Maniac says in this book just gets on my nerves, literally. But it's shocking to me how much this fucking book just does nothing. And I mean nothing as in it doesn't do anything new. What was the point of doing a sequel to Dr. Maniac? No one wanted this. No one wanted this. I much rather would have had a sequel to Attack of the Mutant, which was a pretty good book. The first Dr. Maniac isn't that good. What's the point? No one wants this. This is fucking stupid. I'm not even that disinterested because I'm bored. I'm disinterested because I don't want to fucking read about Dr. Maniac or any of the other characters. This is bullshit. We should not have gotten a sequel to this book. If anything, do a sequel to a book that people have actually wanted a sequel to. Like, there's so many books that people still want sequels to. Like, a lot of fucking books. A lot of them. 3 out of 10. Can't say it's horrible, but it's fucking bad.
Punished for this. Teacher, he doesn't have a pencil.
I don't give a fuck.
And folks, with that, we have completed the first half of the Horrorland series, and...
Editing Bruce here. I think I recorded this at like 5 in the morning after pulling an all-nighter. It's definitely not the Horrorland series.
What a good way to go off. Creature Teacher, the final exam. This is not like a direct sequel, but a sequel to the original Creature Teacher book from the Series 2000, which I was very intrigued by this book because this is one of the only Series 2000 books that ever got a sequel, and it is the only one to get a sequel past 2000. So, within the modern Goosebumps series, this is the only Series 2000 sequel. So it just shows that the Creature Teacher original book was very good. And I have read it, thankfully. I would not have read this, knowing that I haven't read the other one. And I can say that this one is similar, but this one takes place in a summer camp, which is perfect for the time of year I'm recording this right now, which is June. And I thought this was honestly a better camp book than the last couple camp books in Goosebumps, right? I think that this one is very fun. I didn't have many gripes with it. Besides, I think the only thing that got annoying is Miss Marg just threatening the shit out of our main character a little too much. It got kind of repetitive. But everything else really just shocked me. This is easily the best book so far in this series. I don't know if I'd say this is one of my favorite moderns yet, but it very well could be. I just need to read more moderns. Because I've only read one series and a half, I guess, now. And, no, this is just a really fun book. I like the protagonist. He is a lot like the protagonist in the original Creature Teacher, I think. I also feel like this book also has this advantage that it's just, it has this, like, Camp Jelly Jam setting almost, or like a Camp Nightmare setting where, you know, they're trying to catch the kids trying to leave or do something that they don't want them to do, and it's trying to just play it off like the creepiest camp ever, right? It's not supposed to be like Cold Lake or any of those books, Camp Slither or anything, but this is, you know, it feels like a play on Jelly Jam, Camp Nightmare, mixed with Creature Teacher. It's kind of weird, but I love it. It's a great combination, and this is one that I highly recommend, actually, as long as you read the first Creature Teacher book first, even though you probably don't have to. I'm thinking I'm going to give this one probably a 9 out of 10 for now, maybe even a 9.5. Hell, let's do it. I'm going to give it a 10. Right? There is some flaws, but this is a fucking great book, and I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt of being the best Most Wanted, because a lot of people say that, and so far this is one of my favorite moderns, if not my favorite. So that's pretty awesome, and I didn't expect this to happen. So just given all of that, plus just being a great book overall, I'm gonna give it a 10. It's a 10 out of 10 book. I love it. Please check it out. And with that, we have entered the halfway portion of the video where I'm basically just going to talk about some things that went down in this time period, and I'm also going to be giving my thoughts on some of the cool stuff that got released during this time period. What's good is that now we're entering the year 2015, and with that, we have a new movie. Yes, the Goosebumps movie that came out this year. I'm just going to quickly review it because I know I've reviewed it on another channel before, but I want to give my own thoughts, and I just wanted to, you know, let this be known. This is the movie that got me into Goosebumps. It got me into horror in general. It got me into much more spooky stuff. I was scared shitless watching this, even though now it's like a comedy in my eyes. What can I say? I have a lot to be thankful for when it comes to this film. I think that it's flawed. It's very flawed, but just because of the personal impact it's had on me, it's hard not loving it every time I watch it. I think Jack Black does a great job in this film. I think all the actors do a really good job. The kids have tons of energy, and honestly, I know that, you know, this one's not centered around super young children, you know, like most Goosebumps is, where it's like middle schoolers. This is more like late high school. But it's just, you know, tons of energy, tons of really good, like, practical and CGI effects, really. And honestly, I know that there's a lot of complaints with this film, but for what they had to work with, I think they did a pretty good job, including a lot of monsters and a ton of Goosebumps references. Overall, I think this one's super fun. I'm gonna give it probably a 10 out of 10, 9.5. It's amazing. I love it. The first 10 minutes kind of drag, but it's fine. It's just trying to set up the story. And, you know, it's just a movie of a lot, you know, it means a lot to me. And that's where I'm gonna end it. Besides the movie, there was some pretty cool stuff as well, including actually a plethora of Goosebumps movie novels and books, and I only have the movie novel because I don't care to own some of those other books and stuff. But how interesting is that this movie was really a smash hit in the box office and convinced Scholastic to market the shit out of it, and well, it worked because these things are common as hell. I find them all the time thrifting. Sadly, I do not have most of the books. I just have that one Goosebumps movie novel, but hey, maybe one day I'll pick them up for whatever reason. I probably won't. But, yeah, there's that. We also got a new Goosebumps graphics right around this time, which was the first one in many years. And on top of that, we also, you know, once again saw
2 Goosebumps video games came out around this time, including a Goosebumps movie 2015 point-and-click game and a Goosebumps movie Dead of Night game that was on mobile. Now, both of these were pretty significant because these were the first Goosebumps video games to come out since 2008. And before that, probably like 1997, I believe. So it just shows that these did mean a lot, and it's just really cool seeing how much Goosebumps became more popular.
But no, this is a very cool time period for Goosebumps. I'm very happy to have grown up right in the center of it and to be a huge fan at this time too. It brings back a lot of memories, almost tears of joy, honestly. Just talking about the old movie or watching the old movie. But yeah, lots of cool stuff, and I guess we'll talk about the cover arts. There isn't as much to say about this series as cover arts compared to the Horrorland ones, and that's because there's a very simple premise, at least in the mainline Most Wanted books. They're all standing in front of a blank, I guess, colored wall of some sort, and it's pretty cool how they're trying to look like Most Wanted posters, but I don't know. It just looks like some shitty mug shots, except the only one I think is pretty cool. Or there's 2 of them I think are pretty cool. First of all, Miss Marg on the cover of Creature Teacher Final Exam because she wrote a bunch of stuff all over the wall using her fingernails. It's pretty creepy. And the second one is A Nightmare on Clown Street. Funny enough, 2 books right next to each other. And that one is just because not only does it look like a mugshot, it looks like a...
I think what I meant to say here is that it looks like it's more in theme with the carnival stuff.
And besides that, we have the, Wanted the Haunted Mask cover, which looks fine. I'm not a huge fan of the Dorman version of the Haunted Mask. Carly Beth version, I guess, if you want to call it that. The first book mask. But, it looks fine. And last but not least, we have the 4 special editions. God, 4 is a lot. Can't wait to get to those. And these have some really good covers, actually. I'm a big fan of them. Between, having the same house in the background, they're all seasonal. I think that the best of the 4 is probably Zombie Halloween, but Trick or Trap looks great, and my personal favorite is The Haunter. The worst is 12 Screams of Christmas, but it's still pretty good. It's just, I don't know, I don't love the face of the weird ghost in the sky or whatever, but, all have really nice color schemes. I love the themes of all of them. They're all really good, and they're honestly the best Dorman covers probably ever besides 12 Screams. So overall, I think the covers in this series are just fine, but those special edition covers are pretty awesome. So those are nice to take a glance at once in a while. So I'm just gonna cut to the chase, no bullshit here, and I'm just gonna say I think this video works better in 2 parts. And that's why I am going to have this part posted when you see it posted on 4th of July, and the next part will be posted sometime, hopefully in October or November. I'm not really sure when, but you can count on it happening because I'm not going to leave you guys hanging like I did last time. However, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew this, that these videos take a lot of effort to make. They take a lot of time to make. So if you guys would, possibly like the video, comment anything, or just do anything to support the channel, really, because of these videos that take fucking hours and hours and hours and hours. That'd be very much appreciated. This is a fun video to make. I'm happy to do more of these if you guys like them. If this gets like no views and no likes, no comments or anything, I'm probably not going to continue to do these. But as of now, they're a hit on the channel, and if it's going to keep that way, I might as well keep doing them because, more supply for more demand. With that being said, folks, happy 4th of July, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Peace out and have a great night.